Morning. We are live for our first webinar. First time using this platform, seeing people joining in now. Good morning, everyone. See you logging in. Going to get started here in a minute. Give some people some chance to log on, but excited to have you all with this morning. Mike, Jeremy, great to be able to talk with you and have conversation. But yeah, still see people popping in. This is awesome. It's a nice warm day in South Central Pennsylvania, so don't know where you're all located at, but hopefully you are also having some of this good weather that we have here. But yep, I see everyone popping in now. Awesome. Well, let's get started this morning. So thank you. Thanks for taking the time out of your schedule to pop in, join us this morning, hear a little bit about what's going on at Presales Leader. Yeah, my name's Sal Bunacore. I'm part of the team here and just want to take a moment to welcome Mike, welcome Jeremy. Guys, thanks for joining the call. Thanks for sharing your time, sharing your wealth of knowledge and sharing some about our company. So let me share your screen here, and why don't we just start by introducing ourselves. So guys, whoever wants to go first, go for it.
Jeremy, you're muted, so I'll go ahead and go while you figure out your audio issues. I'm Mike Duberstein, as hopefully most of you who are attending know. I am a senior solutions engineer here with the company, and I also am director of sales and marketing. So I wear two hats. We like to throw around the term player coach around here, and many of us are. So that's me, Jeremy. Let's hope that your mic is working now. Uh-oh. Still can't hear you. No, we're good. We're good.
You got me now? All right, great. Like Sal said when we kicked this off, this is a new platform for us because this is really our very first webinar as a company. So first off, I just want to thank Sal and the rest of our team for getting this together and getting the invites out. I was really excited to see how many people are joining today. So thank you to our team for putting this together. We've been in business for 3 years now, and this is our first webinar. So this is a really exciting time for me and the company in general as we grow and as we expand. And that's really what we're going to be talking about today are the other things that we do. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jeremy Patoka. I'm the founder and principal solutions architect of the Technology Leader companies and the 3 operating companies underneath of that we're going to talk about today. Most people know us still as Presales Leader. That's the shirt I'm wearing today with the Presales Leader logo. And I'm excited to just tell people about what else we're up to.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Before we just dive into the content for the morning, as you're viewing, if you have any questions, if you want to type those in the chat, we would love to we're going to take some time at the end of this just to go through a couple of those, get those answered for you. But yeah, so feel free to use the chat with questions. Good morning, Jason. I see you're already using the chat. So yeah, feel free to add those in. And Mike, I think I'm handing it over to you first, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So like Jeremy was saying, he was alluding to the fact that a lot of folks know us as Presales Leader to this day. Maybe some of that has to do with the fact that that's what we were for a while. Maybe that's because of the demos that don't suck shirts that we would wear at the summit and at conferences and things like that. I think that's a pretty established brand. But Technology Leader Companies is the parent company that now is over 3 specific companies that meet different parts of what a typical solutions engineer would do. I've been thinking a lot about this as our journey to serving these other areas of the market has kind of unfolded. And it reminds me a little bit of the initial time that Jeremy, me and you were talking about what it meant to be a solution engineer when we were in your house in Yarmouth, Maine, having a couple of glasses of bourbon. And back then I was asking you what's the job description? It was about 5 years ago now. And you told me it's demos, discoveries. We'll probably stick you on doing a bunch of RFPs and those types of things. And what we've got here is a visualization of three different life preservers that are meant to sort of stabilize the folks that are using them. And a lot of folks think of the PSL one, the one on the right, as what pre-sales is, what Presales Leader is. That's what I thought the job was when Jeremy was describing it to me. But I kind of found out that being involved in this ecosphere is a lot more than just that. And each of the companies that we have kind of solve for something in that space that I've kind of had to do as a W-2 SE in my previous life.
That's a great metaphor, Mike, just about the life preservers. So I love the way that you frame that. I mean, at the end of the day, we are a company that supports resellers and ISVs, right? We are that life preserver. We're that one to fill in gaps on their team and just help them be successful in a really challenging type of business. Implementing ERP, selling add-ons to ERP. I mean, we all, those of you that are on the webinar, you all operate in a business with a fair amount of complexity. And that's what we're there for. We help break down the complexity, and we help in the three different areas to just allow you to be more successful and have more meaningful impact for your end clients.
Yeah, and as we were sort of thinking about visuals to go along with the webinar and promote it, we've had this graphic in the past, this full lifecycle solution that shows how each of the different companies that we have kind of support a cohesive journey. And the idea to me was, this cycle is, when it's used in full, meant to be a life preserver to help keep our partners afloat. Certainly, we have folks, and plenty of you on the call, just use us for a fraction of what we do. And I think even that in small ways, we will help kind of keep you afloat. But when you use us kind of all interconnected together, that's when the power of all of those come together in a pretty significant way.
The role of a solution engineer or solution architect has changed, and our focus at all of the companies, right, is really full lifecycle solutions engineering, solutions architecture as a service. So you subscribe to that service in some form or fashion, and the role of the solution architect and the solution engineer has evolved in the last 5 or 10 years. And you're seeing solution engineering teams, even at really big companies, like take Salesforce for an example, the way they even leverage their own solutions engineering team or solutions architecture, historically pre-sales folks, has changed, right? They're really integrating the solutions professional into the entire customer lifecycle. And in summary, that's what we're doing here, right? At the awareness phase, think of like your sales and marketing funnel. The awareness phase, we're supporting your efforts to fill your funnel with leads. And the way that we do that there is by helping you make content that's relevant, that's engaging, right? And oftentimes it's really hard to find the right person internally who can prioritize building out content for your marketing purposes. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes in a much deeper way. That next, once someone is active in a sales process, that's our middle funnel service offering. So when you're engaged with a lead, you're working on that conversion, you're doing demonstrations, you're putting proposals together, right? More of that traditional, what we've all called pre-sales role, is our Presales Leader services. And it's a subscription service that folks subscribe to for pre-sale support. It's not just for VARs, it's also for ISVs. We have a really growing market of ISVs, both in and even outside of the Acumatica ecosystem at this point, that leverage us. We focus on business-to-business solutions, right? That's our bread and butter. And just based on a lot of the folks here, our experience has always been in and around Acumatica, so that's what a lot of people still think of us as. But the reality is that we, any business software application that needs some help, top of funnel with product marketing and middle of funnel with pre-sales is a fit for us. And then think of even after the deal closes, right? That's where the true customer journey begins as a client of yours. And that's everything from kicking off an implementation, doing the implementation, getting the customer live, and then supporting them after they're live. There's this push, especially in the last 2 years, for solutions professionals to be involved with customers after they're live, especially with the speed at which these solutions like Acumatica are delivering new features, new functionality. There's a compelling reason to redesign and optimize your system every year. Maybe something that's new, right? Maybe something that wasn't available last year. Maybe the business has changed a little bit. So we're really looking to bring all those pieces together as one firm that is focused on full lifecycle solutions, consulting, and offering that to all of our clients on a subscription basis.
So let's dig into the first arm of that, which is product marketing leader and the offerings that are within that. Really, we've got two big pieces of this business unit, one that's product marketing as a service and the other that's go-to-market as a service. For product marketing, where we're differentiated, there's a whole bunch of places that you can go outsource to create content and all of those types of things. I think describing kind of what we are not is a good starting point here. When we think about marketing, I think folks tend to think about website design, SEO, maybe actually SDR work where you're doing cold calling and email campaigns. That's not anything that we offer currently. What we really do with product marketing is create specialized content. Now think about your overall customer journey that Jeremy was just talking about, from awareness to engagement to retention and satisfaction. That's one cohesive journey experienced by the same group of people at your customer level. And so it's really important to make sure that the same folks that are involved in guiding them through that journey are the ones that help establish the awareness at the very beginning of that journey. That's where there's a big disconnection today with a lot of marketing content, is that you have like well-intentioned and like really good marketing folks that just don't really understand the whole journey and the solutions of what they're trying to create. As a W-2 SE, I got pulled into a lot of this type of thing, whether it was creating YouTube videos. I actually wrote a published article in a magazine, blogs, and those types of things. But our whole idea there is to be able to create really tailored content that aligns with the whole journey that your buyer is then going to go on. So, Sal, if you want to go to the next slide just to look at the types of content that we offer there. And Jeremy, I'm sure you as well as I, we both, like as W-2s, have done almost all of this stuff as just an SC before. You'd agree with that, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. And the tension I always felt, Mike, as a W-2 employee for VAR is the marketing team. You really want to help them. Like, you honestly do want to help them build a lot of this content and collateral, but your charter as an SE middle of funnel is supporting deals, right? You have a quota, you're supporting deals, you're supposed to be helping the sales reps get deals across the finish line, doing demos. So content was like the last thing on your list. And it's almost like if I got around to that, and to be honest, there have been times in my life where I've had the same content ideas on a list to do for a year, right? And I just like literally never get to it. So when we first started 3 years ago, we really lightly were creating some content, and we used that in a way when we had more junior SEs come on that weren't as in demand for customer facing demo time. We had them supporting the content efforts, and that worked out really well. But as this scaled into its own business unit, we actually now have dedicated folks in that practice that's run by John Hicks, who they're not being pulled. We wanted to remove that tension, right? Content has to be someone's priority. So that's what this team, they do lean on our SEs as needed, but the folks actually producing the content, making videos, writing majority of the blogs and ebooks, right? That is now a separate team of again, I still consider them a solutions professional, because they're, at the end of the day, that's what we are. But they're really doing that from the perspective of the top of funnel solutions activities, right? So everything, we've made some really cool click-through demonstrations, short videos, like very high quality produced videos. We've written some great blogs. And the way that we do this on the product marketing side is we really try to package this up in a campaign. Like, hey, what's something that you want to focus on, right? If you wanted to focus on, as a reseller of Acumatica, you want to focus on a specific element of the construction industry, like pool construction, right? Maybe you want to actually develop a lot of content around that. You want to highlight features of Acumatica that meets the need of people that are actually in landscape construction or pool construction or organic seed manufacturing, right? That's where we really want to have some planning meetings to get to that level, and then build out content that's not just going to look like, what everybody else has or what everyone's borrowing from the publisher, but actual really valuable content that's going to fill your funnel with some great leads. So that's the product marketing side. The go-to-market side is something that we added about a year ago. That was when John Hicks came on board to take leadership of the practice. And what we learned in the first year was that product market, like, people loved the content that we created, but a lot of them struggled to know what to do with it after, or they didn't have the audience built to actually socialize and get the content in front of people. So what John's done really well with the go-to-market is reviewing and analyzing the process and literally training the team. This is kind of like a coaching, it's a coaching engagement where we're helping you use tools like LinkedIn Navigator, reorganizing your website to be able to go in and build your audience, right? So a lot of times what we do now is the first 6-month subscription is go-to-market as a service. Let's make sure you got the right forums and online audiences, and let's make that audience as big as possible. And then as a second subscription, we do the marketing content. And at that point, now we're feeding this consistent stream of high quality content to that audience. And the folks that have gone through that process are all referenceable. Like, John does a great job with them. And again, if anyone's ever interested in seeing examples of content, it's likely you've already engaged with some of our content just through some of the ISVs that we do work with that are pretty prevalent in the Acumatica world. But we're happy to share with other folks what type of content we create. Summer's been a little slow for, I think, the channel at large. I think, just people this summer have kind of slowed down and stepped away from work, really like summering hard, I would say. And I do think now in mid-August, that's going to start to get busy. We all know that in this business, Q4 is always the biggest quarter of the year for most of the firms that we work with. So it's also a really good time to say, hey, what else can we do to maybe get a consistent stream or open up another vein of leads? And just the amount of things that you can do strategically when you have high quality content, it can really help open up the lead flow, as well as you're getting like higher qualified leads, because it's not just someone that tripped into a form, or they're actually engaging with content because it's so relevant for their industry, and they're also in that phase of searching, right? That's how we're writing the content. It's not just like training materials. It's content that's engaging potential buyers within that micro vertical or campaign that we've all identified.
Yep, and in terms of the perfect persona for both of these offerings, it really could be anyone, right? I think we have a lot of ISVs that use us for this offering, but a growing number of VARs as well. Jeremy did a great job just describing, the niche vertical that you want to focus on if you're a VAR. But either way, this is something that can be a big benefit depending on no matter really who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, well, let's dive into the pre-sales as a service side. I think this will be probably the quickest of all of the pieces that we talk about. But Jeremy, I think from my perspective, and I think probably from the audience's perspective, what I'd love to know, I know it's our 3-year anniversary here, and early on, it was just you before you hired on Jason to backfill and join us. And one of your big fears early on was, is the pre-sales leader PSaaS, pre-sales as a service, just going to be Jeremy as a service, or is it scalable? So could you just talk kind of the audience through the journey that we've been on as pre-sales leader, where we were, where we are now, and kind of where you feel like we're headed?
Absolutely. And I love this picture because this is the coffee shop across the street that I'm going to be hitting after this call with some of the staff here in Lancaster. So it's like a preview of what's going to happen in about 30 minutes from me. You're absolutely right, Mike. When we started, I knew that I could be like a 1099 rogue pre-sales consultant and probably get a couple of friendly VARs that I knew to get to use me to help them with pre-sales. But I really had this idea that we could build a scalable model and a full team that was not part formally of any specific organization, the publisher, the reseller, other, but really create a new category of business within an ERP ecosystem that just focuses on solutions engineering. And in the pre-sales business, right, we're really middle of funnel solutions consulting here, pre-sales consulting. So for a while it was me, and then we started to add to the team. And those folks were helping out with some of the content while they were learning Acumatica, really refining their skills. And at this point, as this business has matured, we have a great process for VARs and ISVs to just continue to train folks that are maybe new to the solutions engineering role. Those of you that have ever tried to list a job position for a solutions engineer for Acumatica know that those people really don't exist. Like, they're not floating around out there just looking for jobs. So what we've done really well is used our Lancaster, Pennsylvania office as a tool to create more solutions engineers. Right. I'm a big proponent of in-person. That's where I am today. I think there's 4 or 5 of us here at the office today, but our capacity, and when everyone's actually kind of here, which with back to school, we'll have a lot more folks back in the office with consistency. We have, I don't know, maybe 12 of us on any given day that are in Pennsylvania that actually could be here in the office. And it's a key. Like I said, it's a tool for us to be able to take someone that has never done the job before, train them. Right? It's hard to learn on an island. So when they can just sit in a room and listen to a demo and talk about what did they do well, what did they do after, without needing to jump on a bunch of calls to do that, just have casual conversations, even walking over for coffee, it makes a big difference. So about a year and a half ago, actually not too far after, we brought on a couple of seasoned SEs. Mike was one of them as well, who helped come and really change that trajectory of like just me and a couple others doing pre-sales to, all right, we're actually building out sub teams that are doing, here's our construction vertical pre-sales folks, here's our manufacturing vertical pre-sales folks, here's our distribution pre-sales folks. And what's really neat is we really view it like a vertical job, not a specific software application. I'll just give you a really good example. Our team that is demonstrating Acumatica Distribution Edition, I'll use Jake as an example over there on the right. Jake can also demo container management. He can demo several of the WMS platforms out there. So what we're really aiming for is becoming vertical experts and exercising that demonstration muscle, that ability to communicate what a software system can do for an end client and make that platform agnostic. And I really believe that we do that well. It's kind of like a philosophical belief more than anything, but that trickles down into our win rates, right? Because we're not coming over as product pushers just showing software. We're actually putting together a fully vertical packaged solution that is going to transform someone's business. That we also do this for a number of ISVs now, and in the past 6 months, our ISV business has really taken off. Some of you may know Tom Fitzpatrick. He was the 3rd employee at the company almost 3 years ago. We actually brought him on like two months into being a business, and Tom runs our not what we just call our it's really like our non-ERP pre-sales clients, which is a very large growing base. And that's just all the other ISV solutions that we support, or even folks that are outside of the typical publisher ecosystems that we work within. So we're doing a lot more of those. Those are higher velocity of demos, right? Less complexity, higher velocity, usually lower deal value. But he's got a great team, and we just have the coolest group of clients over there that are leveraging us for doing ISV demos now too. So it's evolved in a lot of different ways. To a certain extent, Mike, we're doing the same thing we did when I was doing it myself 3 years ago, but we do it a whole lot better. You know,
Yep. The other thing that's really cool about our offering from an ISV perspective is that it really allows them to scale with us, right? Like when we are the ones that are doing pre-sales for ISVs and third-party products, or non-Acumatica products, it's our responsibility to then scale a team that can be available to demo that product as that product demand grows in the marketplace. So that really allows folks that are of those products to focus on product development and enhancement and leave the scaling to us. So that's one of the things, I think one of the key reasons that we're starting to get a lot more traction in the ISV space, as opposed to just continuing on with the Acumatica space. Although we are certainly committed to providing excellent pre-sales resources to Acumatica VARs going forward as well. All right, I think the last business unit, and one that we're particularly excited about here, is Business Consulting Leader. And Business Consulting Leader has gone through a number of iterations really since around the time that I started. Jeremy, I know that you were doing a number of the kind of design projects before I joined. I kind of was doing a couple of them while we were waiting for Sean Reeves to join and take over that practice. But we have definitely gone through a facelift here, where initially, that item on the left, design, was really what our value was, doing the first phase of implementation, establishing a roadmap and creating a really strong detailed document that really was just designed to set up the implementation for success. And there's a ton of value in that. We have customers that still only use that aspect of what we do. But as we've talked about this life cycle thing, the life preserver that we had mentioned at the beginning of this call, really what we had heard from so many of our customers is we need more than this. Can you guys do the actual implementation? Can you support us in continuing to improve our clients' experience and retain them and make them happy after they're already live? So that's why I think we're really thrilled to publicly announce here for the first time that we're offering a full lifecycle post-sales, including design for the first phase of implementation, the actual build and implementation of the product, and optimization as well post go live. So we really can be a full partner from the very beginning of awareness to the pre-sales experience to now the full life cycle of your customer's experience, not just handing them off to you after the design document. Now, we certainly do allow for fragmented use of BCL here. If you want to engage with us just for design and you've got folks that want to configure, that's fine. If you want to come in and have us used for just optimization for customers that you feel like are not getting the most out of Acumatica, we can do that as well. And we'll talk about the optimization service just as a element of that standalone here in just a second. But I think, Jeremy, one of the things we're most excited about is this idea of taking that customer journey to completion here from BCL, with the build now bridging those two products that we were offering before.
I think I lost your mic there, Jeremy. Not hearing. Yeah.
I was wondering if that was just me. Jeremy's speechless. I guess I must have encapsulated everything.
Oh, well, that's not true. I always have
there we go.
To say, Mike. This really was a business unit that was created out of the clients that we were having a lot of success with early on the pre-sale side. All of a sudden, it created some implementation havoc, I would even say, because they started closing more deals and sometimes larger deals, and it takes a while to scale up the resources on a services team. We all know that there's not a lot of consultants out there that are available. So I would that's really how it was created was, hey, can you guys stick around for the first phase of the project? Your solution engineers that are solution architects that helped us close the deal, can we get someone, either the same person or similar caliber, to stick around and help us get to a design document? So we did that. We did that for part of 2022 and all of 2023. I want to say by now we've done over 80 design projects for ERP implementations. And then we started adding what we call optimization. So it's the other end, right? Where we're doing the clients live. They now need to implement additional features, or they've had turnover. So, can you guys go back in and do some redesign and then actually implement those things? And then most recently, we added the build portion. So like Mike said, we are technically a full service Acumatica services partner, if you think of that designation on our business consulting leader company now. It's always been really important for me to give our staff focus. Like I never wanted, that's why we created the product marketing side, and then we created the business consulting side. Business consulting leader has its own team of about 5 people, and they're not doing pre-sales and they're not doing product marketing. They're really, for the most part, focused on designing, building, and then optimizing once people are live. That's been a really fun evolution of this business unit for me to watch. We're actually piloting right now our first 2 full implementations that BCL will be taking on behalf of VAR from start to finish. They're both going really well, which isn't a surprise. Our team on the BCL side is really made up of awesome folks. Some of you know Sean Reeves. This is from a company meeting we had. A bunch of us went and did a CrossFit workout together. So I've been staring at like this really sweaty image of mine for a couple minutes. I can't wait to move the slide. But the folks over there on that business unit, I mean, we're talking about like an average across the team of 7 years of Acumatica experience. Right, folks like Derek, Cody, and myself that have been doing it since like 2014, made 10 years all the way. Like our least seasoned person's probably 5 years of not just ERP, but Acumatica experience. So we've got some really great talent over there. They are very passionate about what they do, and they're very good at it. Mike, do you want to take a first pass at the service offerings here, and then I can speak to any of those as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of different fits here for some of the design type of things that we've done. So as I had mentioned early on, that solution design and project kickoff is the first phase really of a successful implementation, and that's a bunch of different workshops that we'll meet with like subject matter experts for the clients that are implementing Acumatica, and then as we kind of come up with their ideal solution in Acumatica, documenting that for both customer and partner sign-off before moving into the next phase. I would say a few of these other things like feasibility and gap analysis and rescued project design kind of fall into a similar category, but just in a different timing. So feasibility and gap analysis, especially for VARs that are dealing with a enterprise level company, oftentimes those sales cycles take a ton of time and a ton of validation. And what instead some folks want to do is just pay for the first phase of the implementation before they buy the software. So it's a really good way to get enterprise companies kind of committed to a sales cycle, because now they're paying for it and they come out with like certainty of how Acumatica would work for them. And so that's a really interesting approach that we've seen a lot of success with. And project rescue design can be similar. If there's a project that's started and we need to kind of come in and redesign, that's something that we have the ability to do. Business process engineering is a similar thing where we can look at workflows that that companies are going through and talk about how can we re-engineer the flows in Acumatica or re-engineer the process flows outside of Acumatica to match best practice within it. Functional specification is for when there's customization needs, which is the ability to say, hey, we need to create this screen or modify this screen in Acumatica, but we need to be able to deliver a functional spec to the developer, which is a pretty technical skill that our team has gotten really, really good at as well. Optimization as a service is something we'll cover on the next slide, but before we head there, Jeremy, I want to give you some space to fill in any gaps.
Yeah, I would just say to look at the business consulting side of our business as, everything from a full implementation support partner to just components of it, or even just straight like business consulting, but not so abstract that it's detached from an ERP project, right? A lot of times what we're brought in for, like we had a client a few months ago, as before they made the transition to a new ERP, they just knew that they were kind of immature from a financial perspective. So the work we did was really ERP agnostic. I mean, they did eventually wind up buying Acumatica, but they just needed some help to understand, like, we don't have a consistent process to close our books monthly, or we need to do some chart of account redesign. We don't have proper segregation of duties. I mean, we use QuickBooks and we were a couple million in revenue and now we're 50 plus, right? And so things have just changed so fast. So a lot of times I find that many resellers do have those folks on staff, but either they're already busy implementing Acumatica for other folks, or maybe that your staff is largely like really implementation focused people that may not have that bigger picture skill set to be able to step back and say, hey, let's not talk about the software for a little bit. Like, this is just, how are your people working? How are your processes working? True business process re-engineering. And so we've layered that into some projects where we're already doing design. We just have done that. So it's kind of I would just call it like a niche consulting offering on if you isolate some of these that can be used with clients on a legacy product that are thinking about making a move, or a client that's live that just really, maybe they feel like Acumatica is configured well, but their business has changed, and now it's like we really need just to draw some blueprints out from a bigger picture, not just like, hey, let's start setting up a module and training people.
Absolutely. So optimization as a service is something that we've put a lot of effort into designing here lately. Sean Reeves is the genius behind this, but we've been talking about this with our partners for a while, but haven't really had a digestible way to look at pricing it. It was just kind of looked at as an individual. Yeah, we'll let you know a price when we have a conversation with the client and what their needs are. But now what we've done is essentially established a matrix that will be able to give us really what tier clients ought to be in. So it is still a conversation with those clients, but based on the needs that they have, we have different levels that they can subscribe to. And I'm sure for really any VAR that's on the call with us right now, there's probably at least a handful of your customers that could be a fit for this. And Jeremy hit the nail on the head in terms of, you guys may have the folks on staff to be able to support your clients in this way, but they're probably, dedicated to implementation and other things. So, kind of giving that over to us is something that can help keep them freed up for implementation work, but then also give your clients the satisfaction they're looking for. Because oftentimes, like, we'll do demos of really awesome things like business events and dashboards and modified generic inquiries. But then after an implementation, folks are just busy catching their breath after configuring the system to meet their basic needs, and they forget about all the stuff that's here on the screen. And that's what can sort of lead to a negative CSAT score, is they don't feel like they've gotten what they were looking for. They just have essentially re-engineered or re-put the same processes in place with Acumatica. Oftentimes folks don't even have dashboards, right? And so this is a really good way to kind of give them the accountability they need to continue to enhance the product. And, we'll do it for them as well. It's not just us guiding them to setting these things up. We'll work with them as consultants to actually stand up this these things that they need to keep them happy. So the pricing has gotten a lot more straightforward than it was. It's something I can, walk through on an individual call with anyone that's interested in this. But the whole idea is to be transparent. We'll have discovery calls to understand how they're using Acumatica today, what elements that they need, kind of check a number of boxes, and it will spit out what tier and an associated monthly cost that goes with that. So this is one of the things we're most excited about. I think this is going to help a lot of folks scale and kind of reapply resources onto implementations without having to worry about this sort of thing. And there is a margin share program in place for our partners to use this. So this becomes a profit center that keeps your customers happy, but also makes you money as well. So I know we've got we're actually a couple of minutes over where we were supposed to be, but Jeremy, I want to give you a chance to fill in on optimization as a service before we open it up for questions.
Yeah, let me just practically, what does this look like for a client? So let's say you have a client, they've gone live 6 months ago. I have a personal pet peeve when I log into an existing client site and I don't see a dashboard. I see the Acumatica homepage. There's just something about it that makes me cringe a little bit, because a lot of people buy these tools for automating their business, but I totally understand, as an implementer in the past, in the throes of go live, we just have to get to an MVP and go live, right? And certain things sit on the side. And then there's also this other pressure from Acumatica to sell a certain amount of units to maintain margin tiers, right? That's a world that, as resellers, you live in. And the combination of those two things often means we don't have the available resources to continue optimizing a client on a certain subscription basis as we move forward, right? We're going to go sell more deals and then reallocate those resources outside of support. So this really fills in that gap. And practically what it looks like is this is fulfilled by us. Think of it like an ISV product that you're selling and you're making margin on. Actually, our several first pilots that we've done, the VAR will make more margin on our optimization service than they will on Acumatica license revenue, right? So the margin program is good, but the value of the client is huge. We're getting on a call every other week, or sometimes if it's a large subscription every week, and having a stand up, and we build out a whole plan on here's what we're going to optimize. And every month we're going to do a different training. We're going to do finance training this month, and we're going to do operations next month, and sysadmin training. We'll rotate through that so everybody's touched 4 times a year, right? Why is that important? Well, there's turnover at these clients. The people that were there a year ago and they implemented may not be there anymore. The people that are there now never received any proper training. So we really package a ton of value. I'm just scratching the surface on what we're doing here. And we've seen increased customer satisfaction and a huge increase in customer spend, because now we're uncovering things like, oh, you want to automate your payables process? Let's consider these AP automation tools, right? And we would align with you on which ones you like. Or, hey, you want to embed credit card processing? Let's actually look at that. So all of a sudden they're buying more, they're spending more, but their customer satisfaction is going up. This is just it's a tool to help you retain your customers, make some margin on them, increase CSAT scores. And at the end of the day, the customer is just getting a lot more value out of what they're already paying for their subscription.
Great. Well, I think let's open it up for questions. I see we have one from Jeff asking about the list of supported ERP for the BCL services. And right now what we're doing is we're doing this in the Acumatica space. I think, we've explored doing this for ISVs as well. Certainly worth a conversation in terms of, what specifically you might be looking for, but where we've started is the same place that we've started with all these offerings, is in the Acumatica ecosphere, but certainly open to expansion talks.
Yeah, our team in general has experience across Acumatica, NetSuite, Sage Intacct, Sage 100, Infor, a few Infor products. But our goal, our kind of strategy as a company has been within the Acumatica ecosystem, and then all of those related ISVs who often operate in other ecosystems. So that's been our focus, and it's been keeping us really busy. So we're going to continue to grow that. But we do at some point have some desires to, not just be the Acumatica people, and just, like I said, on the consulting side, even agnostic to ERP, just get more involved with clients in a consulting capacity.
Any other questions? I know we've gotten some requests for the recording to be sent over. We can definitely do that. I know we've had some technical issues a little bit with being kicked out, but we'll certainly make sure the recording is accessible after this.
Absolutely.
While there's
You'll be
other
able to
folks
find
that are,
that. Sorry, Jeremy. You'll be able to find the recording on our YouTube channel as well shortly after this is done, then when it processes and such. But I'm sorry, you just shared something, Jeremy, and we're going to talk.
yeah, I just threw something in the chat. While anyone else is thinking about questions they want to drop in the chat or reach out directly to one of us, you'll probably get a follow-up with the recording, and you can reply to Sal if you have questions one-on-one. He'll connect you with the right person. I threw in just an infographic our team put together. We're not going to share that on the screen right now, but it's in the chat. It just goes through our 2023 highlights. And it really touches on all the business units that we covered today of consulting, pre-sales, and product marketing. So if you're just interested to see like what kind of scale we have, how much content we're creating, how many demos we did last year, some really great KPIs or just data points on there for you to take a look at. So I just dropped that in the chat. If you're curious, go ahead and jump in there and take a look.
Awesome. If there isn't any other questions popping in the chat, again, feel free to reach out to us. If you use that email address that's on the slide, info@techleaderco.com, that I'll be able to facilitate that and send that to Mike or Jeremy, or any of our other SEs that might be more pertaining to. But yeah, please reach out. We'd love to answer questions, hear a little bit more about what you have going on and how we can be that support and that that support and resource for you guys. But Mike, Jeremy, thanks for the time. Thank you for sharing what's been going on at TLC. And thank you for, just sharing a little bit of your experience, your wisdom in this whole process over the last 3 years and this journey and what it's looked like. Any final comments, guys?
Well, wisdom's a little generous when you're talking about me, but yeah, no, my pleasure. Grateful to be here. Thanks for everyone that joined, and looking forward to a conversation stemming from the presentation. Jeremy?
All right, that time I actually muted myself because I think I coughed. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. Hopefully you can see just like the general excitement about what we're doing in the space and how we're supporting our clients and the results that they're seeing. So that really just kind of full circle energizes us. So we're excited to be able to share that with you. I know there's a lot of things competing for your time, even on a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon in August. So I appreciate you jumping on and hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you, everyone. And again, thanks for dealing with the learning curves and the hiccups and bumps as we trial this new software. I saw a handful of you having issues actually staying on the stream and such. But again, I will share that YouTube link with everyone here so you can rewatch and scan through and catch up on the parts that you missed. But Mike, Jeremy, thank you. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. And I look forward to some further conversations with everyone. Have a great rest of your day.